Stop thinking about it and just cross it off your list. I don't know of any better feeling than that. Probably a couple, but you know what I mean. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about getting organized or staying organized. Basically, I just wanted to talk through all of the different ways that I stay organized, and this is by no means me telling people that you should do it this way, but I feel like I stay organized in a very chaotic way actually. So hopefully some of these tips and tricks will resonate with you because they kind of run the gamut of ways to get organized because I am not inherently an organized person. I think I get more type A the older I get, but I have never been the like extremely organized, study hard, stay on top of things, good at adulting type person. I've never been that person. So I have to try really hard to stay organized and stay on top of things. And I think in general that's true, that staying organized or becoming organized is a learned skill. And even the most put together people that you know put effort into getting and staying organized. You have to constantly put effort into it because you can so quickly just drop the ball and get out of your routines and lose your systems really quickly. But the good news is we live in such an incredible time right now, and there are so many tools for us to use and learn from to organize our goals and our to-do lists and any and everything that comes up. Firstly, I use Notion. I know it's a favorite amongst the YouTube community, and I think that is actually where I found it, and it really is amazing. I use Notion for so many different things. Lately, I've been using it as my video organizer for my YouTube ideas, and I use the calendar view. I'll show it here. And I literally just put in all of my thoughts and my brain dumps of video ideas into the calendar so I can see how far in advance I have videos planned out. And you can even open them up and write in my, like, I write in my notes and my script, and that's just one way to use the calendar feature. Obviously, you could use it as your actual like day calendar and keep track of birthdays and events that are coming up and stay organized that way. But Notion has so many views. If you haven't gone into it, just explore. They offer a lot of free templates too that just kind of kick you off. I know there are free templates floating around online as well, so I'm sure if you just do a quick Google or Pinterest search, you can find them for whatever you're looking for. I also have a budget that I organized. I just used the table view for this one. And what's great about Notion is that you can mix and match. So you can have one page full of all of these different views. So with my budget, I have at the very top all of my budgeted out, like my monthly outgoing amount of money, and then all of my spend areas below it with the amount of money that I've budgeted out for each designated area. Under that, I have a table where I can actually track all of my spend to make sure that I'm staying on budget and I don't go over anything. What I also did was add an area at the bottom for my budget goals. So what I absolutely need to spend money on right around now, this year, this quarter, whatever, however you want to break it up. And then fun things that I would like to spend my money on. So last year, for example, under need to purchase. I had some like a bachelorette that I had to go to for one of my good friends and a trip home to visit my family. But under the fun stuff, I had sort of a wish list going. So going traveling with my partner, and we got to do that luckily. And another thing I had written on there was getting another cat or a dog, and we did get a dog last year. And it's just nice because I could actually check these things off. So I saw the progress that I was making. Notion scratched out each item as I went through it. So if you look at my 2022 budget, you can see that I've actually accomplished all of my budget goals that I set out at the beginning of the year, including my fun to do items. So that was really great to see. I refreshed my memory in going through and planning for this video. So it was a really comforting thing that I actually was able to complete my goals. But I wouldn't have been able to do that without Notion and without just really staying on top of my budget and knowing where my money is going. that was the first step for me because I can just kind of spend, as we do. But being able to see and physically track and have this consistency where I'm holding myself accountable every time I spend or spend out of turn, I can see it and I can see how it's affecting my budget and my goals, you know? And again, this is me being very extreme with my budget because I am not inherently like this and I really have to try. I really wanted to bring down some of my debt, so I knew that I had to do something pretty extreme. But Notion lets you do that. It lets you get really specific, it lets you brainstorm. There's just so many different uses for it. I used it for studying when I was taking my life coaching courses, and I could break down everything into different pages and just take all of my notes. It all lives in my Notion now, and I can always just go back to that, and it's so handy and easy to use. That's the main thing with Notion, is that it is very intuitive. It's a very easy to use platform. So just so many great uses for Notion. If you guys want to see more Notion videos, let me know below. I know there's a ton out there already, but it is just an amazing tools, and obviously it's popular for a reason. I can't talk enough about it. So if there's anything specific that you'd like to see, like maybe how Notion could specifically help you achieve your goals, that is actually a good idea, and I might write that down. Just let me know what you want to see down below in the comments. Another way I stay organized and stay on top of myself is my Curation Day Planner. This is not an ad for Curation. I've used many different day planners, and this is my first year using Curation, so it was a little bit of a stretch for me to get out of my comfort zone and try a different planner because I'm pretty specific about them. I don't want to get into it too much, but I'm very specific about paper types and how thick the paper is for my planner. That's how extreme I can get. So anyway, this paper is great. But the reason I love this planner and why I think I will continue to use it in future years is because it has so many different areas to get yourself organized, get your brain on. So my routine is that every morning, even if I don't finish my full morning routine, I always leave time to sit down and write out my day. So all of my meetings, I write out my to-do list on the side here and just keep track of what I have to do for the day. But it also has these lines where you can add in how you've moved your body. There's just so many features in this planner. It really is amazing. They have these weekly prompts. So at the beginning of every week, before you actually get to your week and your meetings and your to-do lists, it has this whole organizational brain dump section for you where you can write out what you're grateful for this week. There is this whole blank area down here where you can add in a brain dump, a to-do list. You can journal if you want, how you're feeling that week. You can really add anything. I've seen a lot of really amazing things that people have done with this section. Doodle, I can't doodle, but that would be where I would do it. And then on this side, it has your week's priorities. So, what can get you closer to your original goals for the year or for the quarter? You can take a look at those goals and then write down what you want to do this week to get you closer to those goals. And then it also has this personal tracker. So, what I use this for is my meals for the week, just to keep track of dinner plans. I've used it to keep track of my moods, but I've seen people use it to keep track of like jobs you're applying to, of your workout of the day, anything and everything that you want to keep track of. It's just this whole blank section for you to do what you want with it. And all of these templates you can just do on your own. If you have a journal, these are all just really great ideas for you to use. You don't have to have this planner. Again, this isn't an ad. I do love this planner, so if you get it, I fully support that. But you can also just take some of these practices, like every Sunday night or every Monday morning, you write down what you're grateful for to remind yourself this week what you're grateful for. And I'm surprised how often that changes for me. Things will be at the top of my mind, or I'll have just spoken to my grandparents, and it's different every week what I find myself grateful for. Sometimes I don't use all of these features, but I have found that I always use the gratitude one, and that's been such an amazing practice for me to add in to my week prep, and organizing my brain that way, and just reminding myself that there are still good things that I love and am working towards and make me happy. Not to mention, this planner has like a million other ways you can get organized, but if you want, I can do a bigger deep dive into all of the features that they have and ways that you can set your intentions, write out your missions and goals, make plans for how to do them. It's just an incredible planner, and I really do think I will stick with it, which is saying a lot, I think. And last but not least is my phone, of course, because I don't go anywhere without it. So I definitely use my phone to stay organized in all sorts of different ways. Probably my favorite feature on the phone is your reminders. I live for Apple reminders. I don't know if Android has like the same feature, but I seriously treat Siri like a personal assistant. Like I'll be doing dishes and remember that I have to do something, and I'm just like, hey Siri, remind me to call my mom tomorrow at noon. And she does. And just sets that reminder, and I can just verbally set it and forget about it until my alarm goes off the next day. And it's a great way that I've found I can remember to do things because I have all these different tools and ways to stay on top of my to-do list. But sometimes you're in the middle of something and you legitimately like can't just write it down, or you're out running errands, or you're with friends and you don't have your day planner with you. So you can just quickly add a reminder to your phone, and it'll remind you the next day or when you're home to write it down somewhere more permanent, or to just remember to do it later on. So that's definitely my favorite feature. I use it all the time. And then, of course, I keep all of the birthdays in my life in my calendar because I'm so forgetful. I truly wouldn't remember anyone's birthdays unless I had it written down somewhere and my phone would ping and remind me. I really do care. I'm just very forgetful. So that's the only way I can keep track of birthdays. And then I've recently downloaded this app called Tiimo. I'll try to link it down below for you guys. Right now I'm just using the free version, but there is a discount on, the year membership, and I'm leaning a little heavily towards getting it. I think right now it's like $29 for the whole year. Which really isn't that bad, especially if you find yourself using it very consistently. And that's what I wanted to just try out to see how often I use it, how much I lean on it, to see if the paid version is worth it. Obviously, there's just more features in the paid version. There's a whole section within the app where you can take your notes, only in the paid version though. So right now, what I really just use it for is planning out my day. I know what you're thinking. You just planned out your day in your day planner. But this is different. This is, again, just having that visual reminder and the cue on my phone because I am very easily distracted and very forgetful. But the difference between writing out my to-do list and my day planner and then the Tiimo app is that in the Tiimo app, I'm actually scheduling the time. So I'm time blocking when I'm going to do all of these things. So in my day planner, I write down that I have to do laundry and dishes and call my mom or whatever. But in the Tiimo app, I'm really putting it into my day. So from 6 to 6:30, I'm going to do laundry. At 7 o'clock, I'm going to run the dishwasher. At 7:30, I'm going to call my mom. It pings you and it reminds you that your task is starting now. And it's got this cute little timer on the home screen of the app, and if you finish early and you scroll all the way, I'll see if I can find a video, but if you scroll all the way over, it celebrates with you, which I really like. And as you're going through your day and, finishing off these tasks as it reminds you, you can check them off, which again is just a great feeling. And I think there's a reason that that's such a great way to stay organized, because you feel really good. It really builds your confidence the more you can check things off your to-do list and get them out of your head. Stop worrying about it, stop thinking about it, and just cross it off your list. I don't know of any better feeling than that. Probably a couple, but you know what I mean. So this app is just a great way to stay on task if you are easily distracted, or you have trouble time blocking your schedule, or even if you're writing down a to-do list, having trouble motivating yourself to do it. This app will just ping you and be like, "Hey, you're supposed to be doing laundry now." And I still reschedule things all the time. I'll push it back to the next day if I don't get to it. I think I wrote down calling my dentist like 4 days in a row because I just could not do it. But I eventually did it. I eventually made myself do it. So, all of these tools are just tools for you to get a little bit more organized, to stay on top of things, get things out of your head, because I think that's what overwhelms people the most is like the clutter and the noise in their head. And that can be really overwhelming and stifling when you are trying to just live your life. And that's why I have all of these different tools and methods for getting things out of my head and onto paper or a screen so that I know that it's taken care of. I can hold myself accountable to it, but it's not just running around in my head and buzzing with all of these things that I have to do and overwhelming me to the point of like a paralysis. So that's just how I stay organized. It changes all the time too, so I'll just probably leave it with this. It changes all the time. I'm never not looking for good apps on my phone or new ways to use my phone. They're always coming out with new features to get more organized, and I love just trying them out. So I'll just say this is that if you are trying to get organized, just try something, explore. You don't have to buy a whole new day journal. Just take some tips and methods that they use and organize it in just a normal plain old journal and try out different apps, free versions, so there's no commitment or anything pressuring you to do it, and just see what works, see what lands and works for you because it is different for everyone. Again, this is just what's working for me right now. That might change next week, but right now this is what's working for me, and I just wanted to share that it takes a lot of effort. So if you're trying to get organized and you're trying, maybe a day planner, it's not working for you, don't get discouraged. Just try something new and continue to try and continue to learn and see what fits for you. It's all about learning what works for you. We're not taught that there are different learning styles, and we're not taught that there are different ways that we absorb and retain information unless you went to an amazing school, but I wasn't taught that. And so it's all been this huge, long, years long journey of me discovering what works for me, what doesn't, how I learn, how I retain information, how I remember things, and coming down to the fact that I don't remember things and I must write them down. But you'll find it. Just stick with it. Don't get discouraged. And you too can get organized. I promise. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Hopefully, you don't need as many tools and resources as I do. But if you do, just know that you're in decent company, I guess. We're in the same boat. So I'll leave it here. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know if you have any comments down below or any video ideas or any questions about any of the features or tools that I use. Let me know below. I love to hear from you guys. Thank you all again so much for watching. Take time for yourselves. Be kind to yourselves this week, and I'll see you next week.